Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. This is Saqib Mahmood. Today, I'm going to talk about the core of an exchange economy. So, to understand the topic, we would first need to get to know about the edgeword box, where there are two persons, person one and person two, and two goods, x1 and other goods, x2. So, here we just draw combinedly the indifference curve of two persons' utility sharing x1 and x2. So this is definitely gonna be the indifference curve of the person two, as it is convex to the origin for person two, and this is going to be the indifference curve for person one. It is convex to the origin of person one, and there is an initial endowment. For that endowment, person one got this utility, and person two got this utility. So they are currently in this position. So for some reason, if we want to reallocate x1 or x2 between person 1 and 2, if there is some sort of distribution, let's say the distribution is to the point A, then what is going to happen? Is it going to work or it won't? And this is our concern for now. Here for the allocation A, we can observe that person 1 must reduce its utility as the IC needs to shift to the left. For person 2, it is like indifference curve is shifting toward left. For him, he is improving, like he is getting more utility, like he shifted it from here to there. So sorry, person two is going to welcome this exchange, but person one is not going to allow this exchange. The main reason is that it is like demotional for person one to do so. Similarly, if there is any other point like here, for the same reason, person two is going to block the distribution. In that point, for person one, he is getting more utility, but for person two, person two is demotion. He is shifting toward right, so he is losing his utility. So it is not going to happen. So what we are actually left with is like all the distribution between the person needs to be inside the lens or on the surface of the lens. So this is our main concern here. Now, if we can see that, if you see more, then so so our sorry for the interruption. Uh, so so our main concern is the lens. Here, this is the lens. So at every point along the boundary, one consumer will be better off and the other no worse off than they are at E. So they are not other person will not be worse off. Like if we just if we just move into this, let me use a pen here. It's sorting. So if we are on the IC2, this is the IC for person 2. If we just draw the indifference curve at any point for person 1, like at any point, he is going to be better off as he's shifting towards right. He's getting more of both of the goods. But for person 2, he is remaining in the same IC curve. So this is also possible. Similarly, for IC1, this is the difference curve of person 1, it is constant, but IC2 is or person 2 is shifting its utility. Like if we just draw the IC on the surface, then for person 2, the utility has risen, but for person 1, it has remained the same. And this is the point that they are making here. At every allocation inside the lens, however, both consumer will be strictly better off than they are at A. Now, if we just move on to like inside the lens, then we can see that here both of the IC curve, like the person for person one, the IC curve shifted toward right, for person two, IC curve shifted toward left. So in both of the cases, they are consuming more of the throughput, so they are becoming better off. Now, they're becoming better off, and their IC curve is also shifting. So they are definitely going to be strictly better off at A. So how they are going to be better off, like as person one has more of good one and person two has more of good two, we know that when a person has more of something, he values it less. When a person has less of something, he values it more. So like for person one, he has got like less x2. So what is going to happen in its utility? Like if he gets x2 from person two, if he gets x2 from person 2, he will feel better off. That's why his utility is rising. And similar case, like as person 2 has less of x1, so if person 1 gives some x1 for person 2 in exchange for x2, then his utility will shift, definitely shift. So that's why person 2 is shifting towards left and utility is increasing. This is the main point there here, which is being made. Let's move on. But there is a concern, like if we just move on to any of the point inside the lens, like they are getting better off, strictly better off than point A. But is it the equilibrium? No, it is a necessary condition to be at a point inside the lens, but it is not the sufficient condition. To be the sufficient condition, there should not be any space for Pareto improvement, or there should not be any space where one person can be made better off without worsening another person's utility. So in point B, it is possible, but in the contract curve where there is Pareto equilibrium, so one person can't be made better off without like harming others. So it is not just a condition that the point needs to be inside the lens. The other important condition needs to be that the point needs to be uh, on the contract curve. So here D is on the contract curve. So we can say that this is partial equilibrium, not P. We can also observe it in our next graph here. Like we can see that there is the core allocation, and it has followed mostly three of the conditions, and it's followed all of the three conditions, I should say. Like the set of all unblocked feasible allocation. What does it mean? Like if we go outside the lens, definitely the exchange will be blocked, which we have just studied in our second slide, I guess. So it is not going to be blocked. Any point inside the lens will not be blocked. Such allocation are mutually beneficial for all individual as they are becoming better off if they exchange inside the lens. And as the point is on the contract curve, there is no Pareto improvement. So they lie on the contract curve. So the core allocation satisfies all three conditions, and that's the reason why there is a partial equilibrium, and that's why we call it core inside the core. And inside the core, this is the allocation that can happen, and there are numerous points, like infinite points, infinite allocation that could happen. So this is all. Thank you for listening to me.